William had everything: a thriving business, wealth beyond imagination, and the freedom to do as he pleased. But the one thing he didn't have was a family. 5 years ago, he had walked out on his wife Sophia after doctors told them she was infertile. He wanted children, and she couldn't give him that, so he left without looking back. But fate had other plans. One evening, while dining at a luxury restaurant, he spotted a familiar face, Sophia, and sitting beside her were 2 identical little boys with her dark hair and bright eyes. His world stopped. Who were they? And why did they look so much like him? In that moment, William realized he might have made the biggest mistake of his life. The night William walked out of Sophia's life was the night she lost everything, or so she thought. The man she had loved, cherished, and vowed to spend the rest of her life with, had looked her in the eyes and told her she was not enough. "I can't do this, Sophia," he had said coldly, his voice devoid of the warmth that once made her feel safe. "I want a family. A real one." Sophia felt her knees weaken. "William, please, I know we're struggling, but we can." "No," he interrupted. "We've tried for years. I've wasted enough time. The doctors said it themselves. You can't give me what I want." Tears burned in her eyes. "But I love you. Isn't that enough?" William shook his head, grabbing his suitcase without a second thought. "No, it isn't." And just like that, he was gone. Sophia fell to the floor, clutching her stomach as silent sobs racked her body. She had given this man everything: her heart, her trust, her future, and in return, he had discarded her like an inconvenience. The pain was unbearable. But fate had other plans. 5 years later, William stood in front of a luxury restaurant, adjusting the cuffs of his expensive suit. He had everything he ever wanted: a thriving business, wealth beyond measure, and freedom to do as he pleased. And yet, there was something missing. He had remarried quickly after divorcing Sophia. His new wife was young, beautiful, and came from an influential family. It had been the perfect arrangement until she made it clear that she had no interest in being a mother. Their marriage had fallen apart within 2 years, leaving William alone once again. And now, despite having all the money in the world, he felt emptier than ever. He had convinced himself that leaving Sophia was the right choice. But if that were true, why did he still think about her? Why did he dream of the way she used to smile? The way she would gently place a hand on his chest at night, as if he were the only thing that mattered in the world. Shaking off the thoughts, he stepped inside the restaurant, ready for his next business meeting. But the moment he walked through the door, his world stopped. Across the room, sitting at a table by the window, was Sophia. William felt his breath hitch. She looked different, stronger, happier. There was a glow about her that he had never seen before. She was laughing, her head tilted slightly as she spoke to the 2 small children sitting beside her. 2 identical little boys. His heart pounded. They had her dark hair, her bright eyes, her soft features. They were hers. His mind raced, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. How was this possible? She had been declared infertile. That was the whole reason he had left. Unless, his stomach twisted. Had she lied? Had she moved on so quickly and had children with another man? Fueled by an emotion he couldn't quite understand, William marched toward her table. The moment she looked up and saw him, her smile faltered. "William," she said, her voice steady but unreadable. He stared at her, then at the children. "Are they yours?" he demanded. Sophia's expression darkened. "Yes." His jaw clenched. "Who is their father?" The boys looked at him curiously, but Sophia placed a protective hand on each of their backs. "That's none of your concern." William's heart pounded. "Sophia, were you already pregnant when I left?" She exhaled slowly, nodding. "Yes." His entire world shattered. He had abandoned her. He had abandoned them. His legs felt weak, and he pulled out the nearest chair to sit. I don't understand." The doctors said. They were wrong, Sophia said, her voice sharp. Or maybe they weren't. Maybe it was just you. Maybe the stress, the sadness of trying so hard and feeling like I was never enough, maybe that was what held me back. William swallowed hard. Why didn't you tell me? She let out a bitter laugh. Would it have changed anything? You made it clear that you wanted to leave. You didn't even try to fight for us, William. You walked away so easily. He ran a hand through his hair, feeling overwhelmed. I didn't know. If I had, Sophia cut him off. If you had known, what? Would you have stayed? Out of obligation? Out of guilt? She shook her head. That's not what I wanted. I deserved better than that. They deserve better than that. William looked at the boys again. They were staring at him with curious, innocent eyes. His sons. He had 2 sons. And he had missed everything: their first steps, their first words, their laughter, their cries. He had missed 5 years of their lives. He felt something tighten in his chest. I don't know what to say, he admitted. Sophia studied him for a long moment. Then she said, There's nothing to say, William. The past is done. His gaze flickered to her hand, searching for a wedding ring. Are you with someone? She hesitated, then shook her head. A strange sense of relief washed over him, but it was quickly replaced by shame. He didn't deserve to feel relief. He cleared his throat. Sophia, Mommy, who is he? One of the boys interrupted, his small voice breaking through the tension. Sophia hesitated before answering. Just someone from my past, sweetheart. The words stung more than William cared to admit. He took a deep breath. I know I don't deserve anything from you. I made the biggest mistake of my life when I left. But can I see them? Can I get to know them? Sophia's eyes softened, but there was still pain there. I don't know, William. They don't know you. You weren't there for them. Regret hit him like a ton of bricks. He had spent years chasing wealth, power, and status, believing that was what mattered most. But sitting here now, looking at the family he had abandoned, he realized what true riches really were. I want to make it right, he said, his voice raw. Please, Sophia, let me try. She looked at him for a long moment, then at the boys. Finally, she sighed. I won't make any promises, but if you truly want to know them, you'll have to earn it. Not with money, not with empty words, but with actions. For the first time in years, William felt hope. I will, he promised, no matter how long it takes. William's hands trembled slightly as he stared at Sophia and the 2 boys sitting beside her. He wanted to speak, to ask the questions burning in his mind, but the lump in his throat made it impossible. He had walked away from her all those years ago, believing she would never give him a family. Yet here they were, 2 little boys, with his sharp jawline and her warm, soulful eyes. Sophia glanced at him briefly before returning to her meal, as if his presence didn't shake her world the way hers had just shattered his. The boys' twins, no older than 4 or 5, chattered away, blissfully unaware of the man sitting a few feet away, frozen in regret. The waiter returned, refilling William's untouched glass of wine. He barely noticed. His mind raced, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. His heart pounded with questions. Were they really his? Had she moved on? Had she remarried? Summoning the courage to speak, he finally cleared his throat. Sophia. She paused, taking her time before looking up. Her expression was unreadable, calm yet distant, as if she had already made peace with the past. Yes, William. He swallowed hard. Are they mine? His voice was barely above a whisper. Sophia exhaled softly, setting down her fork. Does it matter? She asked, her tone neither angry nor bitter, just tired. His chest tightened. It does to me. She studied him for a long moment before finally nodding. Yes, they're yours. The weight of her words crashed over him like a tidal wave. His sons. He had sons. And he had missed every moment of their lives, their first steps, their first words, the sleepless nights and the joyful days. Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, voice thick with emotion. Sophia gave him a small, sad smile. "You left, William. You made it clear that a life without children wasn't what you wanted. I wasn't going to beg you to stay. And when I found out I was pregnant, I realized I didn't need to." He felt as if the air had been sucked out of the room. The guilt hit him hard. He had abandoned her, believing she could never bear children, only to discover he had walked away from the very family he had always dreamed of. The twins giggled as one of them tried to steal a piece of bread from the other's plate. Sophia smiled at them, gently fixing one's hair, completely at peace. William, however, was drowning. He had spent 5 years chasing wealth, success, and fleeting pleasures, thinking he had won. But now, looking at the life he had left behind, he realized he had lost the most important thing of all. A second chance stood before him. The question was, did he even deserve it?